Well, good evening and welcome to our special July 4th edition of Tucker Carlson Tonight. We hope all of our viewers are enjoying the holiday today, one of the greatest ever. We're halfway through 2017, and in that span we've had to spend a lot of time talking about Russian hacking, even though, as you may have noticed, no evidence at all has emerged that Russian agents were indeed responsible for altering the results of last fall's election. To give you an idea of how little has happened, consider this interview we conducted with Congressman Adam Schiff of Burbank, California, back in December. We could have had the same interview tonight, and not much would have changed.
These hacks were of such seriousness, they could not have taken place without the approval at the highest levels of the Kremlin.
That's speculation, and we've seen a lot. Well, it is speculation.
It is not speculation. You can only say speculation.
It's a statement of fact?
It is a statement of the intelligence community's best assessment,
okay.
and you can quarrel with that because there's a political reason to do it, but this is what the intelligence professionals are saying.
Well, they've told us a lot. You know, I've lived here a long time. I remember vividly the massive stockpiles of WMD in Iraq, which the intelligence community assured us were there, and they weren't. So, pardon me for my skepticism. I think it's a patriotic position. But let me just say this: we know.
Tucker, let me just say this: you don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take
I've been following, but here's what I don't get. There's been a lot of hacking.
The Republican members of the intelligence committee.
But here we've had hacking
this is in dispute.
of the Pentagon, the White House, the State Department. The CIA director's personal email was hacked. We think in some cases by Russia. I don't remember you holding a press conference and saying, hey, Obama administration, your cybersecurity is pathetic. How specifically did the Russians make this election outcome different from what it would have been otherwise? How specifically did they, quote, hack our democracy?
We will never know, whether this was determinative any more than Director Comey's involvement in the election. The means they used were hacking into democratic institutions and the leaking of documents designed in the primary process to sow division between the Clinton and Sanders camps, something we saw actually took place as a result of that. And then in the general election to attempt to discredit Secretary of State Clinton in a way that would harm her and would help Donald Trump.
How did they do that?
Well, it was pretty obvious, wasn't it? They hacked, they released documents that were
real.
Oh, yes, they were real, and they were ones that were damaging to Secretary Clinton. Can you point to documents that they disclosed that were damaging to the Republican Party?
Let's just get to the bottom line. You're upset because you think this affected the election. I get why you're upset. But are you arguing that voters, and other reasons too, but are you arguing that voters should not have seen that information?
This is an important point, though. It's not just the fact that it damaged the candidate I was supporting. All Americans, Democrats and Republicans, and particularly, of the party of Reagan, ought to be concerned when we have Russia interfering in our political affairs.
But are you arguing that voters should not have had the right to see that information? If you could take it back, would you say voters, you're not allowed to see that information?
Well, I would say that we ought to stop Russia from doing this. Now, whether the press should publish the information or not,
do you think they should?
That is a different question. I think that there are some cases where the public interest is so great they should publish. But I also think, and this was an issue I took with the press during the campaign, that when they do publish information that the Russians have hacked and the Russians want us to see, they ought to inform the public of the provenance of those emails.
But they don't know it, and neither do you. You don't know that. You don't know that the government. I think it's really irresponsible for you to say you know that the Putin government did that.
It is irresponsible, Tucker, for you to make that claim without looking at the evidence. And more importantly,
you can't say that you know the Putin government did that.
More importantly, for the president-elect today, to say that he doesn't know whether the Russians. You're
on the Intel Committee. Let me just ask you one final question. Can you look right into the camera and say, I know for a fact the government of Vladimir Putin was behind the hacks of John Podesta's email?
Absolutely. The government of Vladimir Putin was behind the hacks of our institution and the dumping of information.
Of John Podesta's email.
Not only in the United States, but also in Europe.
Okay, you're not. You know what? You're dodging.
And Tucker,
look and say, I know they did. John Podesta's emails. They hacked those.
And I think that Ronald Reagan will be rolling over his grave at your carrying water for the Kremlin.
I'm not carrying water for the. You're a sitting member of Congress on the Intel Committee, and you can't say they hacked.
You're gonna have to move your show to RT Russian television because
you know what? That's just so beneath your office because it's so dumb and you're being duplicitous. I'm asking you, did they hack Podesta's emails? And you can't say it.
Like that, Tucker.
You just said I was carrying. Oh, you said I was carrying water for Putin. That's pretty hilarious.
When you essentially are an apologist for the Kremlin, that's what you're doing.
I'm going to one last time, Congressman. look into the camera and say they hacked John Podesta's emails. We know for a fact that Putin's government did that. You can't, and you know you can't, and you're hiding behind weasel words.
I just said that the
say they hacked John Podesta's emails.
Russians, I'm not going to be specific as to
because you don't know it. That's why. All right, done. One. You don't know it, and you're alleging it without any evidence, and it's wrong.
You're ignoring the evidence because you don't care. The fact that it helped the Republican candidate is all you need to know, apparently.
That's totally false. I just think if you're going to make a serious allegation about an actual country with an actual government, you ought to know what you're talking about, and you don't.
I think that you ought to accept.
I got to go. I'm taking cash from Putin now. I'm on RT.
Republicans on the Intelligence Committee have seen for a fact.
If you could say it, you would, and you can't, and you know that.
If you're willing to be in denial about this because it suits a Republican-elect president,
okay, whatever. You can blather on all you want, man. But I gave you a chance to state it clearly, and you wouldn't, which tells you everything you know.
You,
all right,
or a president-elect? Okay. Not very much, apparently.
I appreciate that, Congressman. And now I need to take a call from Vladimir Putin, so I'm going to put you on hold for 1 second. Well, Congressman Schiff wasn't the only one who couldn't provide a scintilla of evidence of Russian collusion. We brought a parade of Democrats onto the show over the months we've been on the air. And while all of them are happy to promote conspiracy theories, some of them real tinfoil hat stuff, none of them has provided any evidence to back them up.
We are focusing to make sure that our republic is secure because of the extraordinary intervention by a hostile foreign power.
You're selling crap to your voters, and you know that. You're telling them that all their problems can be explained by Vladimir Putin's intervention into American politics.
That's 100% not
and it's
true.
Insane, and it's sad, and they believe you because they trust you, but you're lying to them.
We are literally going out there and campaigning every day on health care. That's what our candidates are going out there and talking to people about. That's what members of Congress are spending their time focusing on. I mean, if you turn on the TV
Really, because I live here, I host a cable show in this city, and I can promise you that every person I talk to on the left is totally absorbed in the Russia story, and this poll, on which this whole segment is predicated, proves that it's true. Look, you heard the FBI director today say that Vladimir Putin hated Hillary Clinton, hated her. He personally hated her, and that's why he sought her defeat in the election.
How do you think he made that up?
How would he?
Or do you think
I don't know the answer. I'm asking you as a member of the Intel Committee. Yeah. How would he know something like that? I don't know what I think about things. We don't even know ourselves. How could he possibly know the innermost thoughts of
Why are we really here? I mean,
it's a serious question. Yeah. Why would he allege something like that? How could he possibly know that?
Because of intelligence reporting.
Based on what?
Through electronic sources that are in the public report that the intelligence community put out.
But there's no indication of how we could know Vladimir Putin's innermost thoughts about Hillary Clinton. And you're asking me
to take it on faith. Do you think we should tell the world how we collect intelligence?
No, I think before
or should we trust the people who do it?
I think before government officials change our foreign policy and declare war against a sovereign country, as you all are attempting to do, we, citizens, have a right to know on what basis you're doing that. This conspiracy is a lot deeper than I thought it was. So you're saying, I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, members of the Trump administration met with Russian officials. That kind of thing happens a lot. Maybe it's ominous, maybe it's not.
Well, it's a lie about it. And that's an important thing.
That's fine. You're saying now that the military action we just saw on Thursday night may have been coordinated with the Russians to throw sleuths like you off the scent. That appears to be what you're saying. And that just seems like a huge conspiracy to me.
Well, it's a conspiracy if it's a conspiracy, but the reality is I'm just giving it to you as a plausible explanation. No, that's why I said I'm not going to confirm it. Look, I know you would love for me to say that and confirm it. I'm just saying that there are people who think that.
The truth is Jeff Sessions had nothing to do with Russia hacking into various computer systems, and there's no evidence to suggest otherwise. So why continue this charade?
Tucker, what we know is that the Russians were laser focused on lifting the sanctions against their regime as a result of the invasion of Crimea and Ukraine. They were successful in having the Republican Party platform changed. We don't know how or why. We should.
That's ridiculous.
Let me finish.
That's absurd.
Excuse me.
You're saying things are just dumb. We don't know that.
I mean, they did change the platform, and we don't know why.
The platform committee, I was there, I didn't see any. Was Kislyak there? I didn't see any Russians in the platform committee.
Excuse me. We know the platform committee was changed, and that was an objective.
Because of the Russians. Were they in the meeting?
I didn't say that. If I did, I said we should find out why it was changed. But here's the point.
No, you just said the Russians got it changed in the Republican platform.
Well, then I misspoke.
You don't know that.
No, and I wouldn't make that allegation, but we ought to get to the bottom of it. No, listen to me. Okay. Listen, Tucker.
So anyone who's against I'm against sanctions on Russia. Why? Does that make me a tool with Putin?
Because you don't care about the invasion of Ukraine or Crimea?
No, I don't think those are central to American interests. Actually, no. I have a legitimate policy disagreement. Am I a spy too? I'm getting very frustrated. I don't know what it means to hack an election. I don't don't know exactly what they did that would constitute a crime so severe that you'd have to spy on the Trump campaign to prove it. What is that evidence?
They hacked into the DNC's emails, and they leaked those emails out in a strategic way to impact the election.
Why
and
won't
all of our
How
intelligence
do
agencies?
you know that?
Because every single one of our intelligence agencies have said that. Director Comey has said that. Clapper
they said
has said that.
They said
have
that.
all
No,
said
actually,
that.
then
And if you don't
maybe
trust them,
maybe you can
that's a different story.
you can answer this question. I asked the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff of Burbank, California, can you look me straight in the face and say that you have evidence that the Russian government hacked John Podesta or the DNC email accounts? And he declined to do that. So I just want to know, unless you and I have to go on faith, we have to trust politicians in a political system on faith. Why don't we get some evidence that any of this actually happened? Why don't we all have to sort of nod and say, oh, yeah, it must have happened because, like, the Washington Post says it happened? Where's the evidence? President Trump